there lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title of today's video, we're going to be reacting to Golden Goose by A.C.E, which I'm honestly super excited for. Just from the title alone, I'm so curious by this one, so I can't wait to get into it and see what we're going to be getting from this song. I am going to be reacting to the lyric video. I do know they have performance videos as well, which I probably will get around to reacting to at some point, but just for this one today, I wanted to react to the lyric video because I'm never too sure sometimes on the captions on some of the videos, so I wanted to check out the lyric video before I check out any performance videos, so I'm super excited to get into this one. But before we do, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome and thank you for joining in. Make sure you're clicking that subscribe button down below to stay up to date with what I post on this channel. And while you're at it, why not leave a little like on this video as well? It really does help me to see what you're enjoying watching so I can keep on making more videos like this. But with all that being said, I just can't wait to get into this, so let's go. Okay. Hold up. Okay. Wait a minute. Listen, I was so into that there. Can't lie. I'm loving the little whispers we've been getting and just the whole vibe we're getting in the intro to this one. It sounds so cool, but I need to hear that backing vocal again, that little ad lib, because that was gorgeous. That vocal was gorgeous. Oh wow. Okay. Vocals, stunning. Ooh. Oh, hold up a second. Okay. So I feel like we're slowly seeing a little bit of what this song is maybe interpreting and meaning a little bit. Obviously, this song is called Golden Goose, and I'm assuming that we're heading into that sense of similarly along the signs of the tail of the golden goose, you know, that lay the golden eggs. Maybe. I'm assuming we're going to be heading into that territory with this song, just from the title and what I've heard so far. But I think them just talking about, you know, let's lay golden eggs. Let's, you know, almost showcase our talent. Let's showcase what we have, you know. But ultimately, whatever we have and whatever talent we have and whatever we produce is also measured by then the wealth that brings in a sense, if that makes sense. Everything that we do is almost a byproduct of that worth, that sense of value, you know, even though it shouldn't necessarily be constantly focused on that way. That is almost what is pinpointed when it comes to a lot of things, you know, in life, not necessarily just in terms of music or in terms of artistry, but in terms of life in general. A lot of things are usually measured by wealth or by how valuable something is, and I think maybe that's where we're heading with this song. Like, how valuable is what we create, you know? It shouldn't necessarily be measured in wealth or benefits. It should be measured by almost what our music means, what our music speaks, you know? Them just saying the overflowing dollars, I think they said, didn't they, as well, talking again about that sense of money. Maybe people taking that sense of talent and artistry for granted within the music industry these days as well, is what I'm getting from that. And I do think sometimes we do take for granted the artistry that we do have within the music industry a lot of the time. Obviously, I don't know if this is where we're heading, but this is just my initial interpretation of what I've heard so far, just based off of, as well, like I was saying, the tail of the golden goose. I'm just assuming that's sort of where we're heading, with the lyrics being similarly on par to that tail. Now take your share. Yeah, the frenzy of the blind engulfed by greed. Yet again, I feel like, you know, they were saying take your share. Almost we are feeling like sometimes as if people are, and humans are seen as that source of income, that source of generating money, generating wealth. But outside of that, why can't we also be appreciated for being human beings, for being talented, for being who we are and being individual and, being valuable within ourselves, not necessarily just being valuable because of our worth and what we create. We are more than that sense of greed from other people. We are human. And I think that is honestly a beautiful representation in this song as well, of it being called Golden Goose. They were talking about laying the golden eggs, and in this instance I guess that we're saying that A.C.E are the golden goose who are laying those golden eggs. They are the ones who are creating beautiful and amazing things, but maybe are being taken for granted by certain people who are so greedy that they don't necessarily see each of these guys' worth, as people, not as artists necessarily, not as a product, but just seeing them as people. I think that is such a profound message, and something so, yeah, again, refreshing to see a K-pop group openly talking about that and raising the question as to, why so many people these days are constantly focused on that greed, that sense of constantly wanting more and more and more, and it never being enough. I think it just is, again, just so refreshing. And that's what I really like about A.C.E from what I've seen so far. I think they weren't afraid to open up those topics. They weren't afraid to be different. They weren't afraid to push the boundaries of what was expected of their music and of them. And I think that's why I resonate and connect so much to their music and who they are as people, because I think they really stand on their morals. And I think that is something that is so incredibly amazing to see. What's different about you? Wow. Again, they're talking about it's unfair. The world I feel like we live in sometimes is definitely an unfair place to be. And I think if we even push beyond the boundaries of just saying that this is maybe a reflection on, seeing people as products sometimes, and seeing, music and artists sometimes be taken advantage of in many, formats. I think it also spreads wider in just humankind and the way that we have sort of gone into this generation of being greedy and, losing sight of what's important. I think it definitely harnesses an even greater message in just saying that I think that as people, we definitely take a lot for granted. We don't necessarily always see the good and the beauty in everything. Rather, we sometimes tend to focus on, like they've been talking about through this song, the worth of something. And for me, that message is so strong, isn't it? Because I do think that we have lost sight of what true value is. I think we all just focus so much on a sense of like hierarchy and power and having that sense of wealth, that sometimes we lose focus on the true value of people, of beauty, of creations, of artistry, of whatever it may be in life. And I think this song really does just stop and make you think for a second about the true reality of that, doesn't it? That means you're not gonna win. And And I think as well, I'm saying like the frenzy of the blind, I do think a lot of the time we do tend to walk into a lot of things blindsided by life. I think that sometimes we do turn our heads to the truth because we don't necessarily want to admit the truth to ourselves as to what the world is coming to. But I do think a lot of the time we do go into things blind. We don't really, as a society, like to open those conversations and delve deeper into the things that are sort of fracturing our system in a sense, I guess. And that definitely is so true. And I think that just seeing them talking about almost them just saying unintentionally, sometimes we are a cause for the greater problem in a way, because whether we know it or not, like consciously, we all are accustomed to almost being part of the problem of maybe viewing things in that light because it's just the way that we have grown up in understanding because of the world around us and the influence that that's had on us. And I think that really like hits hard as well because it's not even an intentional thing, but it's just been sort of embedded into us since we were young that it's like become such a statement, hasn't it, for a lot of people in sense of again that feeling of hierarchy and that feeling of wanting to be able to create something that is valuable to somebody and wanting to be seen as valuable to people. But it's like we should be questioning what that truly means and not necessarily just falling into the hands of following into that rhythm. Wow. And the little clicks in the beat as well. Vocals. That line, what's different about you? What's different about you? And them saying it's not enough. Like, whatever you do in life, whatever you seek in life, it's never enough. So, what's different about you? What makes you different from anybody else in constantly having those expectations of people, constantly having those expectations of value being upheld in whichever way that may be? And it does just like really hit you hard, doesn't it? In thinking that, like, what does make us different? And ultimately, it's not necessarily a fault on our part, but a fault on just that sense of the system that we've been, compelled to. And that really does just, again, resonate so much, doesn't it? And it just really hits so hard. I really, really loved this song. I really loved how in depth the message was in saying that, sometimes in life we maybe have those things that we want to achieve, but it's about the way that we go about those things and about remembering that the root of everything, who we really are and what our morals really stand for, and not necessarily jumping to achieve something if that sort of questions who we are and questions our own morality in a way. I think that really just coming so strong in this song is so, so incredible. But again, I definitely think there was that sense of, we as people are, very valuable. We have a lot of worth, but sometimes that worth gets misconstrued in so many different ways. And I think the way that really just reflected in this song was so incredible. I think, honestly, this one, in terms of Ace, is probably the one that's left the most of an impact on me since I've been reacting to them. Just because I think the lyrics really are so incredibly important. And I think, especially within the generation and the era that we're in right now, I think it definitely highlights a lot of what we are experiencing and what we are feeling. And I think that seeing that in this song, and again, like I said, Ace almost being the driving force in opening up that conversation is really, really impactful. And I think that it's just so incredible to see artists like them having those themes within their music and wanting to, you know, share that and open up that thought process. It just really is absolutely incredible, isn't it? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching along this video with me. If you did, like I said, make sure you're clicking that subscribe button down below to stay up to date with what I post on this channel. And while you're at it, why not leave a little like on this video as well? It really does help me to see what you're enjoying watching so I can keep on making more videos like this. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day and I will see you in the next video.